BMX racing has been an Olympic sport since 2008 and remains one of the fastest growing youth sports in the United States. Tulsa has always been a prominent destination for BMX racers, but soon Oklahoma will be the undisputed epicenter of the sport. And when it does, an iconic neighborhood may well be restored to its former glory. A church parking lot is a fine place to practice, but soon 9-year-old Wyatt Story will ramp up his racing in a big way.
Wyatt's always loved to ride his bike. That's part of the reason that my mother-in-law took him to the giveaway where he won everything. And then once he got on the track, he was hooked.
That giveaway was 1.5 years ago. Wyatt won a new bike and lots of gear, and ever since he's won lots of trophies.
What are your goals?
To be an expert. It's the highest class, except for pro.
At first, 7-year-old sister Kenley was content to watch her big bro, but not for long.
I got tired of watching my brother race, and I decided I wanted to try to do it.
And more hardware soon followed. Last November, Kenley finished second in an event at the BMX Grand Nationals, held each year at Tulsa's Expo Square Arena.
Kenley taking second at Grands, that really surprised all of us. We knew she had it in her.
The stories live in Collinsville, about a 25-mile drive to the old Evans Fin Tube site in North Tulsa. Currently being transformed into the national headquarters for USA BMX Racing.
The relationship and the positive reaction they've had from the community with their largest event here, it sort of became a natural for them as they grew and expanded to consider being centrally located.
You know, ultimately, Tulsa is where we wanted to be. I mean, it's centrally located. There's a lot of history around our company and being in Oklahoma in general. It was a no-brainer to move the headquarters there, really.
The $23 million project, paid for with Vision 2025 funding, will include office space for employees, a National Hall of Fame museum, and a 2,000-seat indoor arena that will include both Olympic caliber and amateur tracks.
This is a pretty cool building. So the arena spans 272-foot clear span. So it's literally about at the threshold of a clear span building with no columns in between that you're going to get. So when you're putting that steel up, it's pretty cool to stand next to it and see it going up.
Ryan O'Neill is a senior projects manager for Nabholz Construction, an Oklahoma company that is also building the OK Pop Museum a few miles away. Projects of this magnitude are pretty cool for another reason. They create good jobs for a lot of Oklahomans.
We see at peak maybe 100 to 120 folks directly on the site. There's also those suppliers, those fabricators, those folks outside of the actual project that have a key emphasis within the project itself. And a lot of those are local to Tulsa and to the Greenwood district.
The city's goal is to have 10% of the work done by small businesses. On this project, it's actually about 15%. And that's great news for City Councilor Vanessa Hall Harper, who represents the historic Greenwood District.
I'm excited about the opportunity that so many people, really from all over the world, will have an opportunity to come and visit here, particularly in the historic Greenwood District. And then, of course, the development that will come after the BMX. And that opportunity, once again, for retail, for commercial, and for black businesses to be able to be developed and to succeed in reestablishing and regrowing Black Wall Street and its history.
This was a win-win, located in a good part of the city that needs development and reinvigoration, and we were able to bring it here.
The entire site comprises 22 acres. The BMX facility sits on about 10, but that leaves 10 more acres for development. This building behind me sits on the National Historical Register. It's the old Oklahoma Iron Works building. Another 10 acres here ready for development, and that's very exciting to the folks who live and work in the Greenwood District.
If you can reuse it and you don't have a bunch of cleanup costs, then it's really an advantage. Plus, it puts you back in the heart of the city.
Tulsa City Manager Paul Zachary says this area did require an environmental cleanup, paid for by the EPA.
The Environmental Protection Agency actually has a program for brownfields that helps cities reinvent some of these spaces that could otherwise just kind of be a scar, on the city's landscape. This
reinvention is roughly 35% complete. and is on schedule to open when the annual BMX Grand Nationals take place next Thanksgiving.
Gonna get crazy right now. Got to beat Polk on that 2 spot. Hypercolors bringing them in and out of the second turn. The big Tulsa turn, they come.
But it won't just attract world-class racers and their entourages from around the country.
I already know for a fact that BMX is working with our schools to build up and raise up the next generation of BMXers, and so that's exciting.
This is a facility for the city of Tulsa and for the community. It will have local operating events every weekend. There will always be something going on there for the youth of Tulsa and everybody to come see.
Looks like Wyatt and Kedley are already on their way.
We've already got 3 great tracks in Oklahoma, but to have the USA BMX headquarters here in Tulsa and within 25 minutes of our home, that is something that's really neat. It's in a great location, easily accessed, and we're really excited to see the facility and see the track and get out there on it whenever it gets started.
Now, as far as the Olympics go, typically a 5-person team, 3 men and 2 women would represent the USA in Tokyo next year. But if the competition is scaled back because of the pandemic, that could change.